It's none other than Cooking with Tammy back in the building, and I am here with another quick and easy recipe, guys. Yes, this recipe you're gonna love, because guess what? Today we're gonna be making corned beef and hash over rice. This recipe, when I tell you, it's gonna be so delicious, you're gonna forget that you're eating corned beef out of a can, trust me. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get to prepping. All right, for the potatoes, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna peel the skin, rinse it off really well, and we're gonna cut the potatoes up into bite-sized pieces. It's really important that you cut the potatoes around the same size. I'm not saying that it has to be perfect. They all have to be squares or rectangles. No, I'm just saying basically make sure they're around the same size, because when it comes to the cooking process, you don't want some of the potatoes to cook sooner than the others, if that makes sense. Anyway, so we're just gonna chop it up in chunky sized pieces. And once we're done, we're just gonna set it aside. Next up on the chopping block is our fresh parsley. Yes, we are gonna rough chop our parsley. And of course, I am gonna keep the stems because, you know something, most of the flavor is embedded in the stems anyway. And I paid for it, so why am I wasting it? You get what I'm saying? So yes, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna give it a rough chop it up really good. And once we're done, we're just gonna place it in a bowl and set it aside as well. Moving right along, we're gonna chop our green onions, aka our scallions, just like that. This takes no time whatsoever. And of course, I'm gonna discard the tops. We're done. We're gonna place this in the bowl as well. We're gonna go right in and chop up our cilantro. Same thing goes. Same thing applies for the cilantro. Your girl is keeping the stems because most of the flavors are embedded in the stems. Most people, they have a love-hate relationship when it comes to cilantro. It's either they like it or they just can't stand it. However, I would definitely suggest using the cilantro. And we're gonna take our yellow onion and we're gonna cut it down the middle and just basically dice it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. And of course, the onions is gonna be the base for our cooking. And this size right here is perfect. We have the whole garlic cloves right here, and it still has the shell on. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take the shell off, cut the top and cut the bottom. To mince it up, just take the back of your knife, hit it just like that. And just like that. Take your knife and just go in and just dice it up. And that is it. We have our garlic ready to go, nicely minced. And we're gonna put it in this little bowl right here, just like that. Nothing to it but to do it. All right, guys, with all that preparation, it is finally time to get to cooking. First thing we're gonna add to this pan is some oil, of course, just like that. Make sure our pan is well lubricated. First, to this pan, we're gonna add our onions. Give it a good mix, stir it up really good. Then once they become nice and translucent, then we're gonna add our green onions. Now that our onions are nice and translucent, we're gonna add our garlic. Get the aromatics out of the garlic. Make sure you combine the potatoes with the onions and the garlic and everything else. And we're gonna allow the potatoes to sear for about, I would honestly say about 10 minutes until they get nice and toasty. And we're gonna flip it over, allow it to sear on the other side as well for about another 10 minutes. Should be a total of 20 minutes, to be honest, between 15 and 20 minutes. And our potatoes are just where we need them to be. They're perfectly toasted. Everything looks good. They're firm, but yet not too soft. So another trick that I like to do in order to speed up that cooking process, I'm gonna add just a little bit of water, probably maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. I'm gonna seal it down with the lid, and that's gonna steam the potatoes. Keep in mind, it's not gonna take away from the potatoes being fried or seared, but it's just gonna help with the cooking process. Push them potatoes to the side, make some room, and we are gonna introduce our corned beef to this skillet. Chop it up, break it up really good. Get all in there. Because our potatoes are cooked perfectly and they need no more cooking, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide the pan just as you see I'm doing, because I want the corned beef to cook all the way through before incorporating it with the potatoes. I want the corned beef to get all the direct heat at this time. We are about to pull this recipe together, so we're going to go in with a little bit of kosher salt as well as ground black pepper. We're going to season up our potatoes just a bit, but we're going to be mindful with the salt. We're not going to add too much. And when it comes down to the corned beef, we're going to add some ground black pepper as well as ground mustard. Let me tell you, the ground mustard definitely elevates the flavor in the corned beef. It gives it such a good taste. We're going to mix it all in, make sure it's well incorporated, get that ground mustard throughout every piece of corned beef. And we're also going to add a couple tablespoons of ketchup. Now, I started off at 4. Of course, you're going to combine it, do your taste test. We're going to take our perfectly seasoned potatoes and we're going to incorporate it with our corned beef. Fold those potatoes in. Let's pick up all those flavors. Let's make one happy duo. If you don't rock with cilantro, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but cilantro definitely highlights the flavor in this corned beef. We're also going to add our parsley, and our parsley is definitely going to give our corned beef that nice vibrancy that it needs and a perfect pop of color. And yeah, we're just gonna mix everything. I did a little taste test and I realized that I need some more ketchup. So of course, as I said earlier, you can always add, but you can't take out. So I'm gonna add another 3 tablespoons of ketchup. So far we are looking at about 7 tablespoons. Incorporate the ketchup with the corned beef once again. And you're gonna do another taste test. If you need to add more ketchup, then of course, go ahead and add it. And I'm going to add a little water because guess what? We're adding this corned beef right here, this corned beef and hash over rice. I don't want it to be sloppy and soupy like Sloppy Joe, but I do want it to be able to spread onto the rice perfectly. As you saw, I only added a couple tablespoons of water. I'm going to cover it down, lower the flame to low, and let it cook down for about 5 additional minutes. And here we are. So in total, I added about 10 tablespoons of ketchup because we're using 2 cans. And let me tell you, it was just perfectly seasoned. We're gonna serve our corned beef onto our perfectly cooked rice. If you need a recipe on how to make the perfect rice, of course, just let me know in the comment section. And of course, you know, because it's cooking with Tammy, you are gonna add a ton of corned beef to this rice. What? Add all the corned beef in a pan. No, I'm just playing. But definitely add as much as your little heart desires. So quick, so easy, so simple. One thing I love about this recipe is the fact that it takes literally less than 30 minutes to put together. It makes the ideal weeknight recipe, or one of those days where you just don't feel like being in the kitchen. You just want to get out the kitchen basically. And this is definitely a go-to. And yeah, we're gonna garnish it with some fresh parsley, and that's about it, guys. Before you leave out, definitely hit that subscribe and like button if you haven't done so already. And as always, I'm cooking with Tammy, and I will catch you guys in another video. I talk to you later. Bye, guys.